Hello there and welcome to this exclusive video series. My name is Henrik and today we're going to talk about 3 things that every Mac user must know. This is based on 6 years experience with the one-to-one coaching and coursing in Apple products, and this is so important that we made the videos free for everyone. Earlier, they were exclusive to our paying members only, but as it is so important, we just decided to give them away for free. In this video series, we're going to talk about 3 fundamentals of the Mac that you just have to know, but unfortunately most do not. Then we're going to talk about some keyboard shortcuts before we go into some very specific and good Finder tips. If you find the videos hard or the topics hard, you can always pause and rewind the video, and you can always come back and watch them later as well. The most important thing is that you try what we do here yourself, because that is the only way you will actually learn this and remember it for the future. At the end of the video series, there is also a special offer, so you can feel free to check that out whenever you want. And as you can probably hear, I'm from Norway, so I hope you won't mind the accent. Let's get started. So the 3 fundamentals are the desktop right here, the dock down here, and the menu bar up here. The 3 elements here are used hundreds of times every day when you use your Mac, and that's one of the reasons it's so important to understand them. The other reason it's important to understand these 3 fundamentals is because they lead to so many other different things that you should know. So, for instance, when we start talking about the desktop now, that will lead us to the secondary click, which is very important to know and to use when you use your Mac. So, knowing the 3 fundamentals might seem a bit easy, or it might seem easy for you now, but I encourage you to see the whole video, as you might pick up something throughout anyways. Okay, so let's start with the desktop. The desktop is actually just a photo, a nice photo, which you can either just have the standard one or you can change it. And you have some folders and files, so you can actually say that the desktop is a part of the system as well as it is a folder. We are going to start by looking at how to do the secondary click, which a lot of people don't know, and by that we'll also have a quick look at how we change the desktop background. So on a PC, you're probably used to the right click, where you click on the right side of the mouse. But at the Mac, that's not possible, or at least not at the laptops. So instead of doing a right click, you do what we call a secondary click, where you put 2 fingers on the trackpad and you click. So there's a huge difference between clicking with 1 finger and 2 fingers. Clicking with 2 fingers, you can get a lot of different options, and they vary based on where in the system and what you do, where you click. And once you do the right or the left click, the normal click, you can drag and drop and do a lot of other things. So when we do the secondary click here, 2 fingers, you see that we can, for instance, change the desktop background. Then we open System Preferences and we can click on whatever photo we want to use. So the desktop, it's not really much more to it, but it's very important to remember the secondary click. Now, the dock is down here. It's almost always down here, and it's also divided in 2 parts. You have the left one where you have your applications, and you have the right one where you have files and folders, and also your trash can. The reason why it looks like it does, it's because it's a shortcut to your most used applications and folders and files. So if you go into the Launchpad, then you will probably see that you actually have a lot more apps installed on your Mac. However, it's only the most important ones who are down in the dock. And you can actually customize the dock in whatever way you want. So for instance, I've put a folder down here called the Finder structure. I also have a TeamViewer, and another application which we use for remote support down here. And you can remove and do whatever you want. So let's say you're not really using pages, numbers, and Keynote, then you could just drag pages, for instance, up here. You see remove comes up and you can let go. Then you can go into Launchpad, find whatever, for instance, word, and drag it back down. Another thing you can do is that you can open pages. You see it pops up here. And then you can do the secondary click or the right click, where we go here, and then options, and then keep in dock. Once we do that, you also see that there are small triangles, and these triangles are very important to look for, because when you see those, it means you have more options. So for instance, when we do the secondary click here, we see that, okay, we have some options, but then we have the triangles, and they indicate that we have more options. Okay, so now we removed and kept an application in the dock. You can also sort them like by doing like this. And then it's also very important to remember to quit apps properly, because when you have applications open, they have a little dot down here, and that means that they're active. They are using a system or the capacity of your machine, and if you have a lot of applications running at the same time, then it will slow it down a lot. So remember to quit apps properly by doing the secondary click and then quit in the dock. Okay, another thing you can do, and you maybe know this, is that you can hold your mouse pointer over this thing here, and then you can do the secondary click. Then you get some other options, like for instance hiding your dock. You can do magnification, make the icons big when you take your mouse over. And you can also go to dock preferences, which opens system preferences, and there you can do a lot more, like for instance putting your dock to the left or right. So as you can see, there are a lot you can do. Of course, everything might not be too important, but the things we've gone through now are pretty nice to know. So I'll just go here, and then I'll actually do the like this. That's perfect. Okay, then we have the menu bar. The menu bar is divided in two parts as well. You have the left one, which is app specific, and then you have the right one, which is general. So the app specific one changes based on what application I'm using. So now I'm using Safari. It says Safari up here. I might go into Photos, and it says Photos up here. That changes all the time actually. So you, depending on how you use your Mac, this will be different all the time, and what application, whatever. On the right side, we have general things, like for instance Wi-Fi settings. You can do your sound, you can check whether you've taken a backup in a while, and a lot more. And it's pretty important to know the menu bar, because there are so many things in here that are kind of hidden, or it's the only way you can find them. Like for instance, preferences in Finder. This is the only way you can get the preferences. So by going up here, going general, tags, sidebar, there you wouldn't have found these settings if you wouldn't know the menu bar. We also have a help menu up here, so we can search for instance, folder. And then it will actually help us on how we create folders, and we can do a lot of other stuff in here. I can also go to, for instance, get to know your Mac or whatever, and I'll find a lot of good content. One other thing that most people don't know is that by using the menu bar, you will actually learn a lot of keyboard shortcuts. So here you can see that by going up to Safari and see quit Safari, that is actually the keyboard shortcut Command and Q. So by doing Command and Q, you can see that I quit Safari. Another thing, you can see that by doing Command N, I open a new window, and there are tons of other keyboard shortcuts which you can find by using the menu bar. If your right side of the menu bar looks different than mine, then you can go to System Preferences, and then you can go to, for instance, Time Machine, and then you can see that you can tick off on Show Time Machine in the menu bar. And that's the way you kind of customize what's going on up here. You can also go to Sound, and then go show the sound in the sound settings in the menu bar. Okay, so that's a quick introduction to the three fundamentals: the desktop, the dock, and the menu bar. Of course, there is so much more to it, but I try to give you a brief overview. Now it's important that you try some of this yourself, look around and click around. It's not very dangerous, so just try it out, but don't try to delete anything. That's the only thing you should be careful about. Okay, see you in the next video.